Good morning. I'm Courtney Carr, the Director of Marketing and Education for IAPD. Thank you for joining today's e-training webinar, Performance Plastics in Sign and Graphics, presented by Michelle White of Vicom Plastics. During the presentation, you may submit questions into the Questions tab on your webinar toolbar, and we will answer them at the conclusion of the presentation. Following this webinar, you will receive a link to a survey. Once you have completed the survey, there will be a link to download the presentation slides. A recording of today's webinar will also be available for download on the IAPD website. Michelle White is the Technical Market Manager focusing on sign and graphics for Vicom Plastics. She's responsible for driving product specifications, performing technical product training, and supporting general sales efforts on new and current products. Michelle is a resource for distributors, print service providers, and equipment managers when technical questions arise, like material capabilities, on any of the Vicom sign and graphics materials. I would now like to turn the presentation over to Michelle.
Good morning. As Courtney stated, I'm the Technical Market Manager for Vicom, and today we are going to go over performance plastics in the sign and graphics market. Oh, I skipped a slide there. No, I didn't. Sorry. So the agenda for today is we will go over the sign and graphics market as a whole, the sub-markets, and the trends that are driving the market. What are performance plastics? Why performance plastics in the market? And then specific plastics that are used for graphic applications. After that, we will have 10 minutes for questions. So the sign and graphics market is basically signs of any kind consisting of visual graphics created to display information to a particular audience. And this slide just kind of shows a few different applications of performance plastics that are used in the market. We have, to better understand the sign and graphics market, we break it down into 3 sub-markets. Those sub-markets are the trade show market, which consists of exhibits, displays, and signage for trade shows, as well as arenas, museums, and other similar applications. Then there's the POP and retail signage market. That's pretty self-explanatory, any retail displays and signage. And then there's the general signage market, which is kind of the catch-all for anything else not included in the other 2. So wayfinding signage, architectural signage, corporate identity. Overall, all 3 of these sub-markets are kind of congruent and they overlap, but this is the best way to kind of break down what the sign and graphics market consists of. The U.S. trade show market is an estimated $15.75 billion in 2019, and it has been projected to grow 4.1% from 2016 to 2021, all the way up to about $16.75 billion. The POP display market is about $3 billion in North America. There's also another study that talks about different products that are manufactured that are about $7.5 million in 2018, and that is growing as well. And then the general signage market, this information that we were able to find talks about the sales of rigid substrates. Rigid substrates are what the performance plastics are under. And so there's about $5.5 billion in sales of rigid substrates in 2018. 1.7 billion of that is other, which is where the plastics would fall. So overall, based on those numbers, the overall signage market we estimate to be approximately $24 billion, just to put things in perspective. So what are the trends that are driving the sign and graphics market? Well, one trend would be the impactful technology. The macro trend would be overall that millennials and the concept of online purchasing. The retail landscape has changed, traditional store experiences, which means less traditional signage. So we're starting to see a more electronic signage, different ways that people are having signage, but overall just the different technology has changed the landscape for a lot of signs being used in the market. Sustainability, So as we all know, that there have been a lot more green initiatives, and people are looking for more sustainable products. You have clean energy and materials are at critical levels. Consumers are using just less plastic, PVC in particular. I think there's this connotation with performance plastics. People think of your different water bottles and milk jugs, and that's not what performance plastics are. But overall, just that connotation of plastic definitely has changed from the market as well. Another one would be better technology. Obviously, the market has changed in consumer levels. I mean, just looking at our typical cell phones these days, 20 years ago, they didn't have them, or there were different phones that you had in your car versus everyone has one in their phone every day now. So when you look at the way that technology has changed and you look at digital printing, that is getting faster versus more of the screen printing, which is analog. So these are the trends that are driving the market and what's changing the market. So we've talked about the sign and graphics market. Now let's talk a little bit about performance plastics. So what are performance plastics? Performance plastics are typically distinguished by their temperature stability, also their mechanical properties. They're often chosen for applications requiring chemical resistance, high temperatures, low coefficient of friction, and high strength. They can be found in many demanding applications across the various industries. And if you look at a few of the pictures here, these are some of the standard ways when people think of performance plastics. You have plastic on playgrounds, you have plastic in vehicles, you have plastic in chemical processing. So what are some of the criteria of performance plastics? So typically that criteria would be, again, chemical resistance, high temperature performance, excellent machinability, flame retardant, low thermal conductivity, and just a few different, criteria that are listed here. So how do the sign and graphics market and performance plastics come together? Well, here you can see a few different applications. So two of the plastics that we will go in today will be PVC and high-density polyethylene. And so as you can see from some of the photos here, you have signage that's done on HDPE that you can route into. You have tables that are made out of expanded foam PVC. You have different murals. You just have regular hanging signage. So overall, PVC and HDPE are typical performance plastics, and that is where you will see these plastics used. The applications for graphics materials are increasing every day, and the product and performance choices can be complex. But because plastics are easy to fabricate, low maintenance, and highly durable, there is improved throughput and finishing. That is why performance plastics are being used more in signage. So again, when we look at the performance plastics used in the market, today I'm going to focus on PVC and in high-density polyethylene known as HDPE. A study that I was able to find shows that rigid materials are 23% of the market, with flexibles being 77%. So those rigid materials are the performance plastics. You can also see in the other chart on the right some of the other substrates that are rigid that are used in the market. But again, the key there is the 13% that is PVC. So what are some specific plastics for sign and graphics applications? Well, as Courtney stated, I'm the technical market manager for Vicom. So, there's other companies that have the same type of products. So I will go over these products since that's what I'm very well versed in, and these would apply to any other types of PVC or HDPE materials. But overall, what Vicom offers is a family of graphic materials that is used for digital and screen printing, signage, exhibits, POP. The materials are heavy metal and lead-free, and they're able to optimize performance and be environmentally friendly. There is the Celtec expanded PVC, ultra white, solid PVC, textured expanded PVC, and polycarb, which is a dual colored HDPE. that can be used in the sign and graphics market. So what are some of the top applications for PVC? Again, we're talking about the sign and graphics market and those 3 different sub-markets. So you're going to have PVC used in point of purchase displays, different signage, store fixtures, trade show booths, monumental signage, wayfinding signage. Some of the key benefits of using PVC is that it is printable, digital, and screen. So PVC in general has very good ink adhesion properties. There are other materials out there where you need adhesion promoters to print on them that is not needed for PVC. It's lightweight, easy to fabricate, paint, or laminate, has excellent fastening characteristics and excellent fire properties. So again, this is a performance plastic that can be used in other things, but it's also great for the sign and graphics market. Some advantages are superior UV performance. So Celtec in particular, Vicom is a subsidiary of the AZEC company, and it's used in building products as well. So there's superior UV performance that carries over from the outdoor products. Again, contains no heavy metals, die cuttable. We consider it to have an optimal density for performance. It is a premium signboard product versus a light density. And then we also oversize our sheets, and all products are made in the U.S. As far as offerings, so their PVC is offered 1 to 38 millimeter in a standard color, so that's up to 1.5 inches. And then we also have a vivid white, which is the brightest white in the market, and for printing. So when it comes to a lot of the different exhibits, displays, a lot of people will use a standard white. They will also laminate to or vinyl for structural properties, again, when you talk about the displays. But for the digital printing, the vivid white is what digital printers like because it is the brightest white. The colors are able to pop and you get a true color on that. And then every company that manufactures PVC has its own standard colors. And this also shows what Vicom has to offer. At the bottom, you can see a couple of different applications of foam PVC as well. To expand the expanded PVC line, there's also textured PVC. So there's a new wood grain that Vicom has to offer. That is in a 12 millimeter and above. And so with the wood grain product, again, you have these wonderful signs. The one in the picture here on the bottom left is actually from a 19 millimeter sheet. It was digitally printed a dark gray. And then it was routed to give it the look of wood slats, so the lines were put in there. And then an aluminum type of material was used to give it the dimension for the lettering. Excuse me. So again, this type of material is great for dimensional letters as well. It can be printed, it can be laminated, it can be stained, and it would look like real wood. Other than the texture and the properties that that has, it can be used the same way as the standard foam PVC. And overall, PVC is one of the most functional types of plastic with extraordinary features, and it's considered the best option for signage that requires durability for several reasons. It's denser than a polystyrene or foam core type board. It won't corrode or rot as metal or other corrugated materials might when used outdoors, and it's resistant to mold and mildew. It also fabricates with ease and maintains its integrity when routed, drilled, cut, and thermoformed. So overall, PVC sheets offer an optimal surface for, again, the digital printing and are receptive to a lot of the different flatbed ink formulations such as UV and latex. Another type of PVC is solid PVC. So again, when you think of performance plastics, there's a lot of type 1, type 2 PVC that is used in chemical processing plants and other type of applications, prosthetics. But again, for the sign and graphics market, you can also use the solid PVC. So what Vicom has to offer, it's marketed for outdoors, but we also see it used for indoors in a 2, 3, and 6 millimeter. It has high impact modifiers in it, as well as even more UV resistance for the outdoor applications. And with that, I do have a customer that actually uses this product in the front of shopping carts, just to kind of give you an idea of that impact resistance. So if you think of a shopping cart at a grocery store, a lot of them will have an ad on the front of the cart. The solid PVC is something that can be printed and used there for the high impact resistance. With this type of material, depending on what printer and what ink you use, the product itself would probably outlast the ink on it. I know people ask how long it will last, and that is one thing. Excuse me. Another product is HDPE that can be used in the sign and graphics market. So this is something that I think historically is used in different type of marine applications as well as outdoor playgrounds. This material has definitely a lot of different properties. It's multicolored. You can route into it to get a couple of dimensions in the sign. If you look at the sign up in the right-hand corner of the page, when you route into it, you have dual colors. So some of the standard colors are like a green, tan, green. You can see that on like a golf course. And there's many other different types of colors. It's easy to clean. It cannot be graffitied. So this type of material is also used in bathroom partitions and lockers and other applications where, if you have somebody that is trying to graffiti or marker to it, you can power wash it. So that's another reason it's very good for outdoors and things like that. We also have, with this material, the routability, the custom colors. It is REACH and row house compliant, has excellent scratch resistance, very easy to clean, won't delaminate, chip, rot, or swell. Some people ask about the colors. They will stay that color. Again, the UV resistance, the colors aren't going to separate. It is extruded, and it comes as one homogeneous mass off the extruder. So overall, just to kind of give a recap, so performance plastics being used in the sign and graphics market is something that is growing because of the properties. And there's many, many different types of plastics that are available, but PVC and HDPE we do consider to be superior. I hope everyone has enjoyed the presentation. I think it went a little bit faster than I thought. And we would like to open it up for any questions.
Thank you, Michelle. As a reminder, please submit any questions using your webinar toolbar. And while we wait for those to come in, if you heard Michelle talk about REACH and you have questions about that, IAPD has a webinar on demand that you can access at any time that goes over those rules and regulations. We'll give it another minute for questions before we wrap up. Okay, well, this concludes our presentation. As a reminder, you'll receive a survey about today's presentation. Once you complete the survey, there will be a link to download the presentation slides. It will be on the second page, so the survey itself is one page, and on the second page we'll say thank you, and there will be your link to download the presentation slides. A recording of today's webinar will be available on the IAPD website on the webinar page. Oh, we had a question come through. Can you speak to the printability of HDPE?
Yes, so the HDPE is more so used for your dimensional signage, block lettering, but it cannot be printed on. Again, that type of material is made where nothing sticks to it. It can't be glued. It has to be mechanically fastened, so there is no printability on the HDPE material.
Thank you, Michelle. So as we wrap up, we will see you next on Friday, July 26th for Developing Leaders. Thank you, Michelle, for presenting, and thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a great rest of your day.